this is my review of Assassination Classroom. Okay, so in this episode, Class 3E plays a baseball game against the actual Kunigagaoka baseball team. So it starts off with Sugino, Karma, and Nagisa all walking from the train station, figuring out on their way to school, figuring out what exactly they want to do since summer is coming up. And as they're talking, they actually pass by the baseball field where Sugino is greeted by his old teammates. And they point out that they do miss him, that despite the whole Class E of everybody else is better than Class E mentality that the school breeds, they do genuinely miss Sugino and do want to see him come back and play for them at some point. However, the team's captain, Shindo, is pretty much the only asshole in the entire group that actually thinks he's better than Class E, and is very upfront about it, pointing out that he's, quote unquote, as he puts it, the chosen one, and that everybody else needs to learn to be better, and that Class E specifically needs to stop trying so hard and just let themselves not have a future. So yeah, Sugino points out that Sugino is notably very upset by what Shindo said to him, and points this out when he gets back to class. So at which point Core Sensei finds out that there's actually a sports tournament coming up. And that while Class E isn't allowed to participate in the actual bracket for the tournament, due to the fact that it would be an odd number of teams, although it's also just Class E exclusion as per usual, they do get to participate in an exposition match against the respective teams. Class E's boys play against the baseball team, and Class E's girls play against the basketball team. At which point Core Sensei realizes that he may have a golden opportunity here and decides to train them up so that they can actually win the baseball team, win against the baseball team, pointing out that he wants them, that he feels like that it could be a good opportunity to set an example, and considering how much the students have grown over the past year, he feels like they could actually pull it off and actually win the game. And sure enough, asks Sugino his thoughts, and he's the resident baseball expert, and Sugino points out his lament about how he hasn't been able to practice for the actual team, but he also points out that he wants to actually win at baseball, mainly so that he can prove that he can, and that they can actually win the game. And Core Sensei doesn't really need much, and while it is this big, long, beautiful speech, Core Sensei himself doesn't need much convincing since he's a baseball nut already, and decides that he's going to train them well enough so that they can actually take on Shindo and the rest of the baseball team. And sure enough, it goes into the baseball team. I'm just gonna spoil it right now since it's a thing, but the girls lose their basketball tournament like halfway through the episode. It's revealed that they lose their baseball tournament and eventually start cheering on the boys from their class. So yeah, they don't win, and Kaede points out that that's because some of the girls had bigger boobs, which she's already openly stated she isn't a big fan of, and she got distracted, so it's clear that but in any case, it's just a little joke, but they lost their basketball tournament. But in any case, Class 3E arrives to go participate in the tournament, and nobody is expecting them to do well for obvious reasons. They're Class 3E. Nobody likes Class 3E. That's just the theme of this series. Class 3E is the end class, and nobody expects much of them. But in any case, Class 3E gathers up for their team and is preparing to go in and do their best. And Core Sensei was told by Karasuma to stay out of sight, so he uses forced perspective to pretend to be a baseball, which is probably the funniest thing in this entire episode. He just in order to signal people, he just popped his head in and out of the ground, and changes his face color to signal what he wants them to do. But in case the tournament starts, it's only 3 innings because it's a tournament, but the exposition match starts, and Class 3E, for lack of a better word, they immediately show how good they are at actually playing baseball, since I've already applied this, but Core Sensei trained them personally, and since Core Sensei can pitch at Mach 20, basically they're able to hit any of Shindo's fastballs, and he's unable to actually get a hit. Added to the fact that they're actually bunting, which throws them off their game, and suddenly you have a problem. Class 3E for the first time actually manages to get 3 runs during the baseball tournament. It starts off with three of them actually bunting to get on bases, and then Sugino finishing it off with a home run, which enables the 3 of them to actually get on base. Basically he just gets them 3-0 at the start. But I know that's not how home runs work, and I think I messed up the terminology there a little bit. I'm not good with sports, but basically what happened was he hit a ball, he hit the fastball. It caused him to go to land on third, and all the first 3 students to go into hit home and actually get 3 points. And sure enough, the coach eventually starts spiraling because he can't comprehend the fact that his team is actually losing to Class 3E. At which point, Gakuho Asano shows up and basically takes over. He has the guy squared out because it's clear that the guy's running a fever from the fact that he's losing. And decides to use this as a teaching moment to actually, put Class 3 in their place yet again, which he did for the midterms and is planning to do again for the baseball tournament. So he plans to use it to motivate the team into doing better and basically get them to crush their opposition by any means necessary. And sure enough, the team just starts choking in on the batter box. They just choke in on the home plate, and their bunting strategy that Class 3 has been using to win the game up to this point no longer works, and they wind up losing the rest of the round because now they can no longer hit because their guys are way too close. And Koro-sensei immediately realizes there's a problem and immediately realizes that Asano is rigging the game to his advantage. And since the umpire hasn't called them on it, it's clear that they're on his side. So, yeah, they basically had no chance. And sure enough, for when the baseball team goes up to pitch, they actually start using their own strategy to their advantage, bunting so that they don't wind up getting out, and also managing to get they don't manage to get anybody on home run since they're able to actually catch all the balls, but basically they just bunt and keep Class 3E on their toes and keep them from winning the game, and basically use their own strategy against them. And Karasuma even points out from the stands how that, minus their motivations for doing so, the teaching methods between Gakuho Asano and Koro-sensei are one and the same. They both use the same exact methods, but they use them to achieve different ends. And Karasuma points out that they may in fact be leading to a collision course with one another. Eventually, Koro-sensei has enough and decides that he's going to use Karma's natural ability to talk trash at people to his advantage. And the next time Karma is up to bat in the second inning, he calls them out. He has him call out the fact that the team hasn't, the umpire hasn't called out any of the problems with them choking up on the base, and that they can't actually hit them, and even calls the rest of the group idiots since it's clear that baseball would be a foreign concept to them if they are clearly allowing that. So, but yeah, they don't wind up winning when they go up to pitch, and they also unfortunately lose 2 points. So now they're only winning by 1 when they were winning by 3 before. But in any case, Koro-sensei decides to use to finally put the final legs of the thing to their advantage. And sure enough, in the final inning, after Class 3 he has already gone up to bat and lost, Koro-sensei decides to play the second part of his plan, which is basically he has Karma and another student choke up on the batter, which in this case is Shigeo, which is and basically he has them choke up on Shindo, and Karma calls out that since the umpire didn't call it earlier, it's fair game for them to do that, and they get as comfortably close to the batter as humanly possible to stop him to make sure that he's likely to hit them. while Shindo does wind up taking a swing at them at Asano's requests, he does wind up missing them because obviously they're trained assassins. They're not going to get hit by a baseball bat, much less one that's moving that slowly. And especially since their target moves at Mach 20. But yeah. And they successfully dodge, which also causes Shindo to lose his ability to hit the pitch, and it causes him to freak out a little bit because it was implied earlier that he kind of was in a little bit of fear of Class 3E because of their unnatural skills, and almost feels like they were playing a completely different game entirely. And while Gakuho Asano did kind of walk that back a little bit, it clearly is still going in the back of his mind here. So, but eventually he does wind up hitting a pitch, and but because Class 3E is so close, they wind up catching the ball and throwing it and landing a triple play, which causes them to win the game. So, and Koro Sensei even remarks that makes them even for what happened at midterms. So now it's 1-1. Gakuho Asano made them lose their midterms on purpose, using his skills to basically just cheat at the midterms. But they were able to turn his own tactics against him this time around, because Koro Sensei has since learned that Gakuho Asano is not a person to be underestimated, and they're able to win the baseball game and show everybody that Class 3E can actually accomplish things if they set their mind to it. So at long last, they're able to actually show what they're made of. But in case after the game, Sugino walks up to Shindo, who is reeling at the fact that they lost, and points out that he shouldn't take it so hard and that it was just a game. But Shindo points out that it was clearly more than that to them, since they put so much effort into winning, and clearly they prided their ability to actually play well. And Sugino points out that he didn't win the game because he wanted to win the game. He won the game because he wanted to show off how cool his friends were. So. And Shindo is able to accept that, and he's able to finally accept the fact that Class 3E may not be so bad after all. So, the story is basically like a little bit of a one-off, but basically it basically makes it so that Class 3E is shown to be able to actually do a pretty competent job at playing baseball, and we're able to actually beat Gakuho Asano at his own game. So now people realize that Class 3E might not be as bad as they thought they are, because I should mention, this is the first time 3E has actually won a game of baseball in the exposition match in the history of this school. So this is the first time that's ever happened. So now it's become a big deal, and it's clearly going to set some doubts in people's mind that Class 3E can't accomplish anything. But in any case, yeah, that's my review of Assassination Classroom. What do you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also be sure to check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, and you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks that I'm always saying thanks. So be sure to check this out in the description below as well. But in case, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!